Hey, I'm Natalie Spano, class of 2026. Welcome to the Rambler Podcast.
And I'm Davin Friedman, class of 2026. Before you dive into this episode, we wanted to share a quick message with you.
At Cathedral Prep, every opportunity we have in the classroom, on the field, and beyond is made stronger by the Fund for Excellence.
This fund supports tuition assistance, academic programs, athletics, and faith formation. Everything that makes prep.
When you give, you help students like us thrive.
Please make your impact today by visiting www.cathedralprep.com/give.
Thank you for believing in us.
Hi everyone, my name is Jimmy Smith and welcome to episode number 86 of the Rambler Podcast, where we are passionate about sharing what makes Cathedral Prep the standard of excellence. On this episode of the podcast, I'm excited to have George Lyons on as a guest. George is a lifelong Erie native and proud Cathedral Prep alumnus from the class of 1971, whose career has been defined by hard work, craftsmanship, and an enduring love of automobiles. After Sacred Heart grade school and a year at Penn State Barron, George jumped fully into the car world, starting as a teenager at Daly's Chevrolet and Red Barn Restaurant, then learning the body trade at Christian's Auto Body under Chris Jensen from 1970 to 1975. He launched Special Interest Cars in 1975, operating a body shop and used car dealership in Erie through 1993, before acquiring GT Motorcar, which became Contemporary Motorcar upon the purchase, in which he continues to operate. In 2000, he expanded again by purchasing Roth Cadillac Audi, where he remains at the helm today. Beyond the showroom, George has personally restored nationally recognized classic cars and judged at major car shows and venues across the country. He is a licensed automobile state appraiser. He has taught appraisal classes at Erie Insurance and actively buys and sells classic cars worldwide. A former 12-year board member of the Erie Western Pennsylvania Port Authority, he also owns and manages local commercial real estate and maintains a personal collection of classic cars. Above all, George is a family man. He's the father of three and grandfather of three who has built a legacy in Erie through integrity, expertise, and a lifelong commitment to automotive craft. So, all that to say, George, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, Jimmy. I'm very proud of my Cathedral Prep history, and I'm glad to participate in this podcast.
Yeah, it's exciting. You and I are mutually connected through social media, and I see a lot of the posts you do on the classic cars and different shows you do. And I thought, what a cool conversation to have with you based on your expertise in this industry and obviously business and leadership success and accomplishments you've been on to do. Appreciate the time to come on.
Happy to be here.
So I often like to jump in, and people who follow along regularly with the episodes know, kind of starting back to before we get into the cars and the business successes and whatnot. I like to jump back and even talk about why you attended Cathedral Prep, and maybe we can start there, talking about what that looked like for you just a few years ago, right?
Just a few years ago. Well, Jimmy, truth be told, with 8 years of parochial education and a good experience at that, in my day, most of the guys in the class, a huge percentage, I don't know the number, but it was pretty strong, were in fact transitioning to Cathedral Prep. I had interest in prep. My uncle, who was an important figure in my life, retired Admiral Dennis Knoll, was in prep's first graduating class, and no one in our family had graduated from prep since then. So I thought at the 50-year mark, calculating ahead, it'd be good to follow in Uncle Dennis's footsteps. And there really wasn't much of a decision. All my friends were going here. It seemed like the right move from 8th grade parochial education, and I was happy to be accepted, which back then was through a test and through acceptance, and start off at Cathedral Prep in 1967.
That is pretty neat to hear about your uncle, who's a part of one of the first classes at Prep, as you mentioned. And then 50 years later, you continuing on in the family to attend Cathedral Prep.
That's right. I was proud at the time that my parents and grandmother and aunts could, in fact, see that I made it through and was able to graduate from Cathedral Prep.
Yeah, that's outstanding. And I know you joked as you walked in, so my office is located at the old headmaster's house, which during your time would have been Monsignor McDonald's house that he lived here. And as you joked, I was never in here, thankfully, for the disciplinarian board, as I know they had those kind of meetings in here previously and whatnot. But still, nonetheless, just a good thing.
No, this was Monsignor McDonald's home. We all knew that. He did a wonderful job, but he was a force to be reckoned with. And I have to say, this was my first time crossing the threshold to come into this building, and kind of interesting, I guess.
A lot of people don't even realize it's here. You know, you just kind of see the prep campus, the parents are dropping off the kids, and alumni, you know, we through the years just walked right by the building. But it's a pretty neat historical house, you know, the history of Cathedral Prep and just this whole area down here in downtown area as well, just these historic homes.
Absolutely, and even with the new building project completed, I was happy to see that they did a really good job of preserving some of the architectural elements that are even somewhere now inside the new building. But overall, it still has the feel of Cathedral Prep, and there's still a lot going through there that feels like it's back when I was here.
And you have a little bit of an inside track to what's happening at Prep because your son-in-law is a teacher here at Prep. So I'm sure he's been filling you in through the years as we've transitioned to the changes here at the school.
Yes, my son-in-law, Mitch Schreffler, is on the faculty here today, and he does keep me abreast of what's going on. One thing that was of great interest to me is he reported back early on that the change to bringing the girls in with the addition of Villa went probably smoother than he or anyone ever expected. Right. It really has been a nice transition. He's complimentary of it, and is recognizing that it's the way forward for Cathedral Prep and Villa.
And I would say he's got 3 daughters, so hopefully some good future Ramblers in that group there.
That's right. We have some Ramblers coming up, I hope. There's a little private joke between Mitch and I that Mitch comes from Meadville. He did not graduate from Prep. And I keep telling him no matter how long he teaches and what his tenure is here, he will never be a Rambler. And he certainly does not like hearing that, but it's a pretty good heckle back and forth between Mitch and I.
And I can imagine he's listening now saying, of course, George had to slide that one in there.
Yes, I'm going to probably get some grief over that.
Don't worry, Mitch. We'll adopt you into the family at some point here.
I've told him if he wanted to enlist for 9th grade and go through the 4 years, I would come to his graduation, and then he would be a Rambler.
There we go. There we go, Mitch. There's still hope. You know, just kind of circling back on the conversation about, you know, you attending Prep now, and Monsignor McDonald's the headmaster. What are some of the things that stick out to you that make you proud to be a Rambler? From your time as a student, what are some of your best memories, I should say?
Well, certainly the camaraderie of the friends that you make here, that some of those last through your entire life, are something you carry with you. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist in other schools, but I think that is a little more of a strong point of Cathedral Prep. Reflecting back, I guess I didn't realize at the time that I was probably not going to continue with higher education beyond high school. And I'm very blessed and happy that I got a pretty high level of education for high school at Cathedral Prep, things that I may not have been exposed to or taught in some of the other schools. So it was a good experience for me going into business, still having a good education behind me, even though it was only high school.
Yeah, and I think the other part of, and it's great to hear about, you know, your experience really being exemplified through the academics that you had here. The other part that I've always been proud of Prep is our alumni network, of course. There's so many people like yourselves who've gone on to do some really great things. But I even remember, this was back in 2013 or 14, we were mutually connected, you and I, between Father John Dedish. And I was just a young kid coming, you know, through the ranks, you know, out of college. And he suggested getting together with you because I was trying to figure out what my career path would be and whatnot. And he kind of introduced us, and I remember meeting you for the first time there, and it was just kind of based on the fact that I had recently graduated from prep. You were a prep alum, pretty successful in business. I wanted to pursue something in business, and Father Dedish kind of connected us. And you and I remember coming to your office, and as you're fresh out of college and you just kind of don't know what you want to go do, you provided some good guidance and wisdom for me at that time.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that our mutual friend, Father Dedish, put us together.
Yes, absolutely. And it just goes to show that strength of the alumni network, as we say.
Absolutely.
And speaking of which, as I mentioned, and read in your bio, you've had some great success in your career, and it's been awesome to be able to see and be able to dive into a little bit here, and hoping that our listeners can learn from some of the questions that I have prepared for you as we kind of pick your brain a little bit about what you've been able to accomplish. And you've owned and managed multiple dealerships and many businesses through the years. One of the first questions I kind of wanted to put out there for you was, what from your perspective has been some of the keys to sustaining, long-term success, especially in such a competitive industry as you're in?
Well, first of all, and I would certainly tell this to anyone, I've said it many times, that if you're fortunate to be able to work and pursue a career in something you truly love and are passionate about, success will come easier to you. I feel like I've never had to struggle to get busy or work in what I do because I love it. We certainly all need a paycheck, and we need an income, and we need financial stability, but I'd probably be doing the same thing if I didn't need the money and just wanted to get up every day and go to work. So certainly find something you're passionate about, something that's going to make you happy long term. If you work hard at that, and in particular, what's worked for me, build a network of people that you work with that'll support you and allow you to grow in business, you'll have success, almost assuredly.
Were there pitfalls in the beginning for you as you started off in this industry?
Yes, there surely were. Probably one of the things that I didn't realize at the time, and I sometimes look back and wonder how I got through it, is I was greatly undercapitalized when I opened my first business, Special Interest Cars. I look back at the little bit of money I had to go up there and start a business, and I can't even figure out how I made it to the second month, the 6th month, or the first year.
Wow. But
I just kept pounding it out.
Yeah.
Another thing I learned is when you have your first or second or third employee and payday's coming on Friday, boy, it sure makes the week go by quick, I'll tell you. You really have your nose down and working hard to make sure that those paychecks are going to clear.
Yeah. I can imagine there's some people right now listening, nodding their head saying, yes, it really does go a lot quicker when that Friday's coming for them.
Boy, it sure does.
Oh, that's great. Well, and I think it's just a testament to, paving the road for your own success. A lot of the hard work you talked about and building those connections, those relationships with others is so vital to kind of build upon to create the successes you've been able to have. What do you think, in your perspective as well, what do you think makes a great leader in business? I kind of put a note in there for you, especially in the auto industry, but I think it's something that we can all learn from from yourself is, what do you think makes a great leader in business?
I believe a leader has to recognize that he can't do it all himself and has to surround himself with good people and treat those people in such a way that they'll stay with you and become supporters of what you're trying to accomplish. Be generous and loyal to people. I've really been proud through the years that I have many employees, even today, that have been with me a long, long time. I still have a couple people that I work with that even go back to my Special Interest Cars days. I just believe that the way you treat people in business early on and as you grow is a big key to your success.
And I'm sure there's been times that it's easier said than done, right?
Certainly, finding the right people is probably my biggest challenge. In fact, today, as we have open positions at the dealerships, a lot of times it's with staff that is aging out, that we've got retirees. Positions are very hard to fill. Some of the technical positions we have in both the service department and the body shops, which we have 2 locations for just body shops, are becoming increasingly hard to fill. The technical side of either a body man or an automobile mechanical technician, I don't believe is as attractive to young people as it possibly was in my day. And there's a smaller pool of good people to pick from, and trying to find good ones that'll really make a career out of it instead of just a stop-off is a big challenge. That's something I'm in the middle of fighting right now, trying to find more people to do jobs that are difficult and require some experience and training, and we're willing to provide all that, but finding the people is pretty darn hard.
Well, it's a good plug for anybody listening. If you know somebody who may be interested in this, get a hold of George, and we'll hopefully make that connection at least.
Sometimes people don't realize that there's technical positions in the dealership, again, being it mechanical or auto body and paint, that provide a great income in an area like Erie, Pennsylvania. There's jobs in that area that either approach or exceed 6 figures. So these are not anything approaching lower wage jobs. But again, it needs commitment, and it needs someone willing to look at it as a career.
Well, that's certainly a challenge that I'm sure you feel in your industry, and as I talk to other business leaders, they're feeling similarly in their fields as well, finding the right people. Hence, a great comment made by yourself about treating people right, and you've had a lot of people been loyal to you, and obviously that's a testament to your leadership and being able to, once you find good people, incentivize them, motivate them, and keep them happy is an important aspect of it. How do you approach that? So you've mentioned you had some employees that have been with you for a long time. How do you build that trust? How do you build that within your company of people who want to stick around with you for this long?
One thing that I was trained on years ago, and it's become very apparent to me, is everybody that you ask, whether it's an employee or someone advising you on employees, will tell you that a pay plan or the income opportunity is the biggest motivator for everybody. Well, that's clearly not true. That certainly a good wage, a good pay plan, a good opportunity to increase your opportunity for income is huge, but there are many more factors that lead to loyal employees. Opportunities to advance from within, an appreciation of having them as an employee and supporting them and just treating them really, really well. Recognizing their needs, not everybody's are the same. That compiled with willing to share the wealth, to pay for the right type of performance will make loyal employees, but it is not all about a pay plan.
It's a lot of intentionality, relationship building, understanding your people. I'm sure person A is motivated differently than person B, correct?
Yes, and I've found that as I extend trust in employees, the trust comes back the other way. They build trust in me. And that's where I see my most loyal employees, the ones that I trust the most, that are out there controlling things that I don't have a day-to-day hand on, are the ones that I have trust in and they have trust in me.
Well, that's really good advice and good tips there. I'm going to pivot a little bit, still talking in the realm of business, but kind of off of leadership for a second here. In regards to the auto industry, as you've been involved in for all these years now, it's gone through some massive changes. And whether it's technology, customer expectations, even in the electric vehicle realm, this is all still newer technology. It's been around, but in the grand scheme of things, as a business leader, And how do you stay adaptive to changes that happen within your industry and continue to press forward, having a successful company?
Well, some things, first off, that don't change are good customer service and selling and servicing cars to people that you would like to continue into the future with as a customer. Again, building relationships. When I sell a car, I tell people often that I hope this is the first car I sell you, and I hope I sell you all your cars going forward. I want you to come back. I want you to allow us a chance to service your car, bring you into the family. Ask us anything. We'll try to accommodate you. We're looking to have what's called customers for life. So that's probably something that has never changed. People do expect a good sales and service experience with an automobile. Yes, there are a lot of changes in the industry. Probably one of the most recent challenges that's been expensive, difficult, and I would not call it a success is the current transition to EV, to electric vehicles. I don't believe that the manufacturers did this correct in what I would call the first round. I think EV has a future, but I think that as it was implicated in the last couple of years has not always been correct by the manufacturer. It's been a huge financial burden on the dealers, and the return on your investment has been absolutely dismal. The vehicles are not being totally accepted by the public, particularly in a climate like ours. And it's been difficult. It's been very hard to manage it. You still have to play ball. I still have to have trained technicians on EVs. I still have to have sales associates that can talk about and sell them. I still have to inventory them. But it's been a difficult road with the EVs, and I think the plan to roll it out hardball all at once was clearly not the way to do it. I think hybrids are the way to go. They should have worked harder to bring that out in all lines and all manufacturers, and the ones that transitioned to full EV are now rethinking their plan.
Interesting. And you're not actually the first person I've heard that from. There's been a couple other leaders within this industry that have mentioned that to me is the hybrid model should have been more or less the direction to go within this.
Some of the manufacturers that had a hybrid early on, such as Toyota with the Prius, saw great success. And I sit there sometimes and say, did not some of these other manufacturers see that Toyota did a 20-year market test for you free of charge and showed you success, and you seemed not to pay any attention to that and went a different direction? I think that's now coming around and going to go the other direction, but this is after I spent an incredible amount of money mandated by the manufacturers to install everything needed to sell EVs through all four of my franchises.
So as a business leader, right, you sometimes can't control the cards you get dealt. To your point, it's kind of something mandated on you by these manufacturers and whatnot. How do you lead your team through this? How do you navigate these types of situations you see yourself in? And how do you keep your team focused and motivated on what you're there to do? Because obviously there's a lot of challenges that go into a situation like this for yourself and what you have to provide for your team to, still lead a successful business and do right by your customers. How do you kind of navigate these types of challenges?
I've tried to make sure that both sales and service staff understand that the manufacturers brought EV in the way they did, and we had no choice but to participate. Early on, I said, maybe they know something we don't. Let's get into this. Let's support it. Let's see where it goes. Bring them into the team. Put them in the same place you are, possibly questioning it, but they know we've got to play ball. Keep them involved and informed all the way along, and they understand. They know that this was not my idea to be the Mercedes-Benz EV dealer for Erie, Pennsylvania. It was mandated by Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
So keep them informed, provide training as the manufacturer has required for both the sales and service side and make the best of it for now.
Yeah. Seems like the open communication, just letting them know exactly where we're at and how we're going to handle it.
Again, make them part of the team, not just support players, but bring, on the bench, bring them into the team early on and keep them involved, keep them informed, and they understand what's going on.
Yeah, certainly. And I'm sure you do that quite frequently with them, so they've known.
Pretty much every day.
That's great. And, it's interesting. We kind of were talking about all the changes in the auto industry, but I'm not sure I know, you still value those classic cars, those models of older vehicles.
Well, I'm a true car enthusiast. I've had older classic antique collector cars my whole life. I've been involved in restoring them, buying and selling them, and have built up a great network of people to support me on all this. And yes, the classic car end of my business, buying, selling, and doing some restoration is a part of what I do every day, and it is all done under the umbrella of Contemporary Motor Car.
Yeah.
So we have a certain staff that's dedicated just to that, and that's still a big part of the business and always will be, and that's a lot of what I do on a day-to-day basis.
And, I was going to ask, how do you, keep the balance between the classic cars and obviously keeping up with the EVs and all the forward trends, but to me, it seems like passion. You love these types of projects. You're a car enthusiast, as you say. I'm sure the balance is easy when, at the very beginning of the conversation, you mentioned if you're passionate about something and you feel like you're not even going to work every day because you have to, but you love it, that's the whole point of it.
I'm certainly still totally involved in the new car side of the business.
Yes.
But for some of the more mundane tasks, and possibly that's not the right word, but I have great managers that handle a lot of that today that allows me more time to develop my classic collector car business, which I also do appraisals and estate work and those kinds of things. And again, that's a big part of the business, but we make it all work.
So for the people who are listening to this episode that are the car enthusiasts, I read your bio, but do you mind kind of sharing with us a little bit more about your background in regards to how you got started with the classic cars and you went from, this is something you love to now you're doing classes at your insurance to be able to talk about restoration and things like that of these classic vehicles and whatnot. Can you kind of just share with us a little bit openly for the car enthusiasts listening more about yourself with this?
Well, I was still right here at 25 West 9th Street. I couldn't wait to get out of here at the end of the day, to race out of here and go to a local shop, Christian's Auto Body, that at the time was doing most of the Corvette and performance car repairs and customizing and things like that. I was taken in by Chris Jensen, the owner at the time, who taught me what was going on with all that, and I worked every hour I could possibly squeeze in, still trying to do a little bit of homework, and I guess not much of that. And I immersed myself in trying to learn more about those types of that type of work, and I learned the body and paint trade, which I really worked in a lot. That kind of evolved from just collision work into restoration, and that's where I got going. And then when I went to special interest cars on my own, yes, we did traditional collision body and paint work, but we did restoration and modifications to cars, and then the opportunity came to buy and sell these cars as I sensed a market out there in our area, and at the time it was pretty localized. It isn't anymore, but it was pretty much Erie and the surrounding area where I was buying and selling these cars.
Yeah.
Still do a lot of that today, but it's way outside of Erie, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine you've probably met some pretty neat and interesting people around the country who have a similar interest and passion as yours, and like you mentioned, buying and selling these cars throughout the country, I'm sure now.
Doing this for 50 years, I've met some of the most wonderful people some have become very close friends and associates, and people all the time still say to me, how do you find these interesting cars? We see you listing particular rare cars for sale. How do you have time to go find any of these cars? And what I tell them is, after doing this for this many years, I really don't find any cars at all anymore. Very rarely. They find me. And that's all through networking.
Yeah.
I do some advertising. Some of it's outside of this area, looking for opportunity on cars. And they come to me, and I am able to purchase those cars. And they're either candidates for restoration or possible resale just as I find them.
What's maybe an example of one of the highest valued vehicles you've came across? You don't have to give the number, but what vehicle maybe was that? What made it so valuable? What's a good example of a cool classic car that was one of the higher value ones you've came across?
If you want to talk higher value, I just concluded this sale of a classic Ferrari, a 1967 330 GTC. I would say that it sold in excess of $500,000. That car came from our relationship that I have with an estate attorney in Los Angeles who was managing an estate out of Colorado that this car was in. And I do a lot of estate purchases now. So I was able to acquire that car and offer it for resale.
Yeah.
More and more I'm developing that side of the business, that I'm working with law firms and individuals that have vehicles, either one or a collection, and it's a time in someone's life to dispose of those vehicles, whether it's someone figuring they're getting at a point in their life that they need to sell their cars, or unfortunately sometimes it's with wives or children of a deceased individual that needs to dispose of these cars.
Yeah.
So I find that my experience in knowing the values and being able to handle the sale in a number of different ways is what there is a market for, and I'm working that pretty hard over the years, the last few years, and that's become a big part of where my opportunity with the classic cars is coming from.
Yeah, how neat. What a cool experience and stories I'm sure you've had being able to, as you say, not find these cars, but they find you now.
They're finding me. After all these years, I'm getting the calls. I'm not out making the calls.
That's great.
Didn't start out like that.
And, you mentioned the Ferrari being one of the more higher valued of recent. Is there any that you've came across that wasn't necessarily the highest valued car, but, man, it was just an awesome, cool, classic car that you still just remember as that's one that sticks with you?
Yes, over the years, I've had an opportunity on actually finding two 300 SL Gullwing Mercedes, which are definitely cream of the crop collector cars. I've had a number of AC Cobras, which again are blue chip collector cars. As far as American cars, I've had some of a number of the high-end, well-recognized American muscle cars, such as Yenko Chevrolets and some of the Chrysler Hemi cars, and particularly some of the other Shelby cars over the years. So it's been a lot of that stuff. But still, as far as pure numbers, nothing exceeds how many Corvettes I've had over the years, of all years and types. Some pretty routine Corvettes that I would not call rare, and some that are extremely rare.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how neat. I'm sure as a car enthusiast, when you come across these gems, I'm sure you still get just as excited as the first few you started to come across.
The hunt and the chase is probably the best part of it. Well, it seems like I enjoy that more than even after acquiring the car or having it. It's finding it and making the deal and being the one to unearth the opportunity is the biggest high point of what I do today.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun talking to you about it because I can feel the excitement from you and the joy, in your face as you're sharing about these classic cars. And what an opportunity in a career you've been able to have to match up your passion and be able to build a business around that obviously has led to all these amazing conversations and cars you've came across and just line up with everything that, you enjoy doing.
I've been very blessed, again, to work in something that I love, I'm still passionate about. I am happy to report that at this point I still have good health, which I'm looking to maintain, and I expect to do this as long as good health permits. I don't know what else I would do if I got up in the morning.
That's right. Do more podcast episodes with me, maybe.
There you go.
Going back to the business side of things, when one of the questions that I kind of want to talk to you about also was values, and how have values kind of guided your building your business, and how do you keep those values front and center today, whether it's business practices or whatever else that has kind of helped you build upon the success you've been able to have on the business side of things?
I think that certainly the most valuable asset anyone has is their reputation with everyone, starting with your family, business associates, employees, friends. I've tried to never lose sight of that. I'm always touting that I'm very proud that I have a lot of the same friends that I socialize with and enjoy their company from my teenage years. I certainly am making new friends all the time, but some of the best friends I have and are ones I've had forever. I still gather with a good group of prep alumni at Lefty's up there, owned by another prep graduate, Jerry Gemler, and we are there on a regular basis. It's kind of the corner tavern to have a drink and something to eat, and those are the same guys that I was doing that same thing with 50 years ago.
Yeah. It's so neat to hear those stories. There's a number of different alumni groups that still get together around town, and it's a lot of fun to hear about those connections all these years later, where you can laugh and be with friends, and it's as if you were just at prep together.
Exactly.
And you've been deeply involved in Erie as a business owner, as a leader. We mentioned some of the board positions that you've had. Why has staying in Erie been important to you? I mean, obviously with your business, you probably could have kind of picked it up and put it wherever you wanted around the country. Why Erie? Why stay in Erie?
Well, Jimmy, that's an interesting question. For the amount of work, effort, and investment I've made, I guess I've thought to myself, where exactly would I be in life if I was possibly in a larger or more forward-growing community than Erie? Yeah, maybe you can make an argument that would have been a better choice, but there was never a thought of that. My family was here. My friends were here. I like Erie. I like everything about it except those few months of the winter when I really get sucked in. I'm not much for that. But I'm just a passionate person about Erie. I like the people here, and I enjoy my time here, and I'm glad I've had this opportunity here. And some of the things that I have done, I'm trying to give a little bit back and say thank you for allowing me to have success in this community.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a great thing. I always love to hear those stories about people who have been able to grow up in Erie, whether they went away to school or not, or they stayed local, but being able to build a life and a success here in Erie is great for the community, and I think it's a big part of what makes Erie so special is, that they call it the 6 degrees of separation. I'm convinced Erie is like 2 degrees of separation.
I would agree to that.
A little bit of a reflective question for you here as I wind down on the episode here. A few questions left for you, but this one is a question that kind of asks you, what do you wish you knew, maybe whether about business or how to work with people, whatever you kind of take this as. What do you wish you knew starting out in business that you know now, that you would tell your younger self?
Well, again, with a high school education and diving into my own business, probably early on I wish I had a little more financial or accounting or business background. I think I struggled with a few things early on, not having any of that behind me except the very minimal. So there's nothing wrong with, no matter what you're looking to do, to have some good basic accounting, business, tax, finance, basic education to get you going.
Yeah.
I think I did a good job with knowing that business can succeed with good relationships right out of the gate and building that network. But I think I could have even done better early on, knowing that these people 30, 40, and 50 years ago that were buying or working with me on cars would be doing that the rest of my life just like I would.
Yeah.
So it took a little while for that light to go on, that this is not a one-time customer, or you need to keep that relationship alive. It has a lot to do with not only the service side of it, but with continuing communication, respect for people's time and needs. And I would tell anybody, whatever your business is, those early connections, those early opportunities that offer you some success are going to be there going forward. Don't lose sight of that.
That's really, really good advice, to be able to have that perspective. And the one note I wanted to make too about the accounting and learning that side of the business as well. There's so many resources online today that people can go to, where it's a lot different than maybe when you were starting off, to be able to have those resources at our fingertips on our phones and whatnot. But there's so much information out there that people just need to have that motivation to go look for it, that desire to go find it. But to your point, that is such an important element as well. And I'm sure something that you look back on, and as you were mentioning, that'd be great to have a little bit more expertise in that area starting off.
I wish that that high schools today, whether it's Cathedral Prep or anywhere, would not focus so much on things like algebra and trigonometry, when you should be teaching basic accounting and business skills. I think there were times that I just didn't even understand exactly how interest rates worked, or building a credit score, or things like that, or what your requirements are for paying taxes through your life. I think that should be something that's basic knowledge in high school, and not too much worry about a trig exam or things that are so seldom applicable to most of the graduates. So I think some of the basic stuff, getting right down to things like balancing a checkbook and that, need to be taught early on. I think those basic skills have sometimes been lost, and they need to be out there for everybody. Doesn't matter what you're going to do.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we're building upon here at Prep, is we have these academic path programs. So we have 4 different programs. The one particular is a business path program. So students who are at Prep after their freshman year can choose this path, and they can have classes like entrepreneurship or finance or whatever else. It's a little bit different in the realm of what you're speaking, but a more specialized kind of focus. So a lot of their electives line up with that. We bring in guest speakers to talk about their business success, or maybe different areas that they've specialized in. We also try to get the kids off campus to do tours of the businesses and meet at places. So maybe I'll get you connected with our business path teacher.
I like hearing everything you just said. I think that is a great positive move, an opportunity for prep students that want to pursue some path, and to get out there and see what's going on in the business world, and have the opportunity to learn some basic business school training while they're still here at Prep, whether they're going on for further education or not.
That's exactly right. And I think the other part of it is some of the kids might feel they want to go into business. Well, there's a lot of different fields to go into just within that realm. So it's helping them kind of navigate.
Sure.
Do you like marketing? Do you like finance? Do you like management? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? There's a lot of different ways you can go.
Absolutely.
That's cool. So a couple questions left for you. One, so at this stage of your career, how do you define success? And how much has that definition changed over time for you?
Success right now is being able to enjoy good health with your family and your close friends. And for me, it's having some financial success that I can share that success, that I can help my family and friends in need and things like that I'm blessed that I have everything I want in life. I have a great home and things like that. And I want to be financially able to support others and share some of what I do, have done, and seen this success with. It gives me great pleasure. I don't want to only see that after I've been to Brugger's. I want to see it while I'm alive.
Yeah.
And share some of that. Not just finance, but time, especially with grandchildren and such going forward. I was working so hard as my children were young that there was probably some missed opportunity of things that I'd like to go back and do different. But I'm not going to miss that with my grandchildren, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's great. And you got plenty of them to go out there and do stuff with.
It seems that way. Yes.
That's right. Well, TBD on if Mitch and Connie are done with that or not.
I don't know about that. I won't comment on this podcast about that.
That's right. Oh, man, that's funny. So, last question here for you, and I appreciate everything you've been able to share with us. I think a lot of us leaving this episode will have some little nuggets we can take away and things we've been able to learn from you. But this is kind of a fun question. I ask a lot of the alumni who come on, kind of a common theme, final question for the episodes. But if you could go back in time and speak to your classmates at your graduation here at Prep, but knowing what you know now, what maybe would be a message or a bit of advice that you would give to your classmates during that time?
Well, that's an interesting question. There's a number of things, but probably one of the biggest things would be whatever good relationships you have coming out of this class today, graduation. Keep those relationships alive, whether they're taking totally different career paths than that you've chosen, and they're going to go on to different levels of education. Whether you're going to stay in Erie or move away or whatever, don't lose sight of those people. You have similar background in living in Erie and having an education at Prep, and every one of those people that you valued time and enjoyed their relationships here while you were at Prep can only get better as you mature in life. So don't lose sight of the people that you met and worked with here at Prep, including faculty, going forward. It will come back to benefit you. The ones that I did keep those relationships going after graduation have been nothing but a joy for me and also helped me with success. And I would tell you that's an important thing to leave here with today. You're leaving 10th and Myrtle, but you're not leaving all these people.
That's a great message, and I got chills just listening to you say that because I think it's just it emphasizes everything that we're about here at Prep is building those core values, a great education, a great jump start to young people's lives, but those relationships you form in those 4 years. I mean, Father Jabo used to always say, Prep isn't a 4-year decision; it's a 40-year decision. Not just for your career, but for your life with your relationships as well.
That's right. And living, working, growing up in Erie, I have to say that it's still a mark of pride to say that I graduated from Cathedral Prep. There's other great schools around here, but I don't think they carry quite the panache of being able to be in a social situation or otherwise and say, I went to Prep. It just doesn't carry that same weight.
Yeah. And I think someone sitting from your position, to your point, all the networking, the business success, all the things you've been able to do, it's great to hear that from someone like yourself as well, that you carry that same pride that all of us still do who graduate from Cathedral Prep and Villa Maria Academy for the alumni listening.
That's right.
As well. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on. It's been great being able to go through these questions with you, pick your brain a little bit about business, classic cars, leadership lessons, things you've learned. But we really appreciate you coming down today and doing this episode with us.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. I think Prep is doing a great job today getting out in the community and trying to show people that haven't been exposed to it like I was, that there is a great opportunity here for your son or your grandson or granddaughter to get involved and have an education from Cathedral Prep that will only better them going forward in their life, no matter what they choose to do.
That's right. Amen to that, George. Absolutely. Well, thank you again, sir, and we appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye now, Jimmy.